Dear listeners, welcome to the podcast of TRUSTS, Trusted Secure Data Sharing Space, an innovation action funded by the EU Commission's Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Programme. Today's interview partner is Silvia Castellví. She's a project manager for the International Data Spaces Association, IDSA. Within TRUSTS, Silvia contributes to the standardization activities for the platform arising from the project. Above other things, she supports the survey creation and analysis for requirements elicitation. Welcome, Silvia.
Welcome. Thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure to talk with you, Nina.
It's a pleasure for me as well. Thank you. So, Silvia, as most of us know, IDSA is one of the forerunners for the work in data spaces and therefore also for data market technologies. You at IDSA are building standards for secure data sharing in data ecosystems. So, making sovereign data sharing in a standardized way is a must. What have been major outcomes of your work? Maybe you can give us a few examples.
Okay, Nina. So, as you know, Trust has provided us with an opportunity to define how to share data in financial sector and telecom, providing reference implementations, use cases, explaining why we need to protect data and how we can share this data for developing service in a marketplace. So what Trust is providing with these use cases is how to achieve interoperability between companies, between marketplace, between data spaces. And this is a very good job that we have developed in Trust, developing this interoperability with between companies, but also with other data spaces and initiatives. And it's a great job because it's a real necessity for data spaces development.
Mhm. I mean, our project Trust has already trust in its name. So maybe could you kindly elaborate a little bit on what is the criteria or what are the criteria for trust within data spaces, within data markets?
Okay, when we provide trust using IDSA, what we provide is a secure environment. In the same way that we have the cleaning house for chips development, for chips production, when you enter into a data space, first you have the identity management. You know who each person that you are talking, sharing data, negotiating the conditions for sharing data. This is one criteria. Another criteria is the software that you are using in this environment is a trusted software. They are trusted components, and we provide a certification process in order to verify that the components that you are using fulfill the security criteria to provide security and, of course, and trust. And these are and also the IDS architecture, IDS reference architecture model that now we just published the 4.0 version, provides a guideline for implementing trust, implementing the security by definition, by design, at the beginning of the defining the blueprint for the data space. This is our contribution for Trust in Trust project.
I understand. I consider those examples are some sort of key pillars for European data service ecosystems. So how did you elaborate your approaches within the frame of Trust, our common project?
Okay. First, we collaborate with research institutions that develops, implement the reference architecture. In this case, Fraunhofer, that implemented the platform in Trust project. So The design, the architecture, and the design of TRUSTS platform is based on IDS reference architecture model. And then the components developed under IDSA specification, the connector for accessing to the data space, but also the key components that provide trust services are developed under IDSA guidelines. So this has been implemented in trust project, tested, and this is the first outcome from this project.
Okay, thank you. In this project, for us, it's important to really go into the direction of impact for the community. So as you know very well, impact is one of our key major outcomes we aim at. So what was your contribution for creating impact out of the project TRUSTS?
Okay, thank you, Nina, for this question, because I think this is the major contribution that IDSA has done on this project, contributing with the community and creating impact. But in this project, we have gone beyond the normal impact to reaching in a large community, and we have enlarged the community, the experts, organizing the aspect that we can achieve this impact and involve in trust activities, organizing a workshop on data spaces. We have organized in Trust project with semantic interoperability experts, a workshop with a large community of stakeholders that are working on this semantic interoperability on data spaces. This workshop was organized last June in Vienna, and we had very interesting discussions on concepts of data spaces interoperability, semantics, and it was organized in collaboration of IDSA with the standardization organization W3C that is working on linked data, and this job that they are developing is very complementary. So the participants in the workshop were mainly researchers, but also decision makers and practitioners that work on specification and implementation of data spaces in industry, in personal data related, in research data, open data. And I have to say, Nina, that we had a great success with more than 15 speakers and more than 50 participants physically in Vienna after Corona time. It's a great success. And regarding the impact, this workshop will allow us to advance in data spaces interoperability, providing requirements for interoperability, but also the reference implementations, the solutions approaches from the different experts in interoperability in data spaces. And also, we identified gaps, what is needed to continue developing in a standard. So we are going to contribute a lot on data spaces standardization, data spaces interoperability to contribute into standards. So that's a great impact because the standardization is the base for developing data spaces in the future.
Thank you, Silvia. I'm very happy that we had this workshop and that participants also had the possibility to really exchange on what is missing, what is there, how can we use it. And also this is a heads up to all our listeners. In the caption of this video, you will find the link to the report and slides of that specific workshop. So make sure to check that out. And Silvia, as a result of this workshop, are there some sort of building blocks for people working in data spaces or data markets that can be used freely as a product of TRUSTS, our project?
What Trust has been working during the project is to define how to how to achieve the interoperability between marketplaces. We started with the European Open Data Initiative project, testing the interoperability with this initiative, and then both the developments, but also the reference implementations on interoperability on trust are available. We publish in the blogs, in our website, but also in the deliverable that are accessible for people that is interested on that.
Thank you. Yeah. So also here, one short heads up for our listeners. We will link you the website in the caption to this video so that you can also check out the deliverables and other outcomes of our project. Silvia, our project TRUSTS is in the last phase and will end with this December this year. So what will your tasks for this time remaining be, and which outcomes do you expect for the data community?
Okay. The remaining time that we have before end of finalization of the project, we will focus on these standardization activities that we have initiated. As probably you know, standardization is the more challenging activities in projects and for companies. So we will continue with this activity in order to provide these reference implementations that we have developed in the project, but also organizing this workshop, contributing to the standardization activities on current working groups, but also on future data spaces standards that will be developed. So our main contributions from now to the end is to provide this information, these requirements, gaps to standardization bodies, current and future standardization bodies on data spaces.
I understand. Thank you for that, Silvia. But there's also one important question. Do you see any challenges remaining for a long-term reception of the project's outcomes which you are working on? And how are we going to tackle them?
The main challenge, Nina, at this moment is continuing to achieve the interoperability between data spaces. Despite the amazing job that TRUSTS has done, it is not a solved issue. So we need to define the interoperability based on common building blocks, or what we call in the design principle position paper, the soft infrastructure that facilitate to achieve this interoperability in data spaces. So this is the main challenge. TRUSTS has contributed a lot, but more job is needed in the future. We need to continue working on that. For me, this is the main challenge. Of course, there are another challenge, for example, the legal aspects that we have aboard in TRUSTS, and provide a lot of visibility how to implement this data act, or how to negotiate, how to automatize the contracts, smart contracts, legal. This is a great achievements in TRUSTS project also, and it's currently a challenge how to implement these legal aspects, but I think the interoperability is also, yeah, a great challenge.
Okay, thank you. So here in your outlines, I would like to ask you if you at IDSA have plans to reuse and further elaborate on the outcomes of TRUSTS, and if yes, are there any specific plans already for that?
Okay, I see in the IDSA roadmap activities that we are involved. I see two directions or projects that we can see further develop the results of TRUSTS. One is on OpenDI project. We are working on building blocks assessment activities. So TRUSTS results on interoperability between marketplace can contribute on the definition of these building blocks regarding trust and also interoperability. So I see this as trust a big contribution and continuation or base for continuation of the results achieved. But in parallel, we are supporting and developing an IDSA financial community. And I see that we can continue the activities initiated in TRUSTS project in this community, contributing with the reference implementation, with the TRUSTS use case, and also in future research projects. We are involved in Databricks, that is also in financial sector, and we plan to continue the developments in this project, and why not, maybe future financial project that will start in next year, 2023.
Thank you, Silvia. With that, we are almost at the end of our podcast. Is there a final statement you want our community to know or you want to share with our TRUSTS community?
Okay. My final statement, we have talked a lot about the achievements and the great job developed in TRUSTS. But as final statement, I would say that the most powerful of TRUSTS was the people involved in the projects. We create a very good community in different topics, different profiles with different specialization that we team up in order to achieve the same results. And working with this amazing team for me has been a pleasure. So this the outcomes and the great achievements that we reach with this project, it would not be possible if it was not the commitment and the professionality of people involved in all of ambits, also in communicating, disseminating the job that we are developing. So also thank you, Nina and Hannah, for your great job.
Thank you very much. I love that final statement, of course. And I also want to thank you, Silvia, for being my interview partner for today. I'm looking very forward to working with you in TRUSTS together until the end of this year, and also in our partnership between IDSA and DO for longer terms. So thanks ahead. And dear listeners, I also want to thank you for taking your time today to get to know more about TRUSTS and what the outcomes are. So please make sure to follow us on our project channels, that you stay up to date with what we are doing and what we will further elaborate until the end of this year. You will, as usual, find our channels in the description of this video. And as usual, make sure to keep up with Europe's innovations. Thank you.